If you fell into Jupiter, gravity would tear your body apart before you ever hit anything solid. Not because of the fall. Because one side of your body would be pulled harder than the other side. That difference alone would shred you like paper. And that is just the entrance. Welcome to the most violent interior in our solar system. Here is what makes this terrifying. Jupiter has no surface. You would just fall. And as you fell, the gravitational pull on your feet would grow stronger faster than the pull on your head. That gap between forces is called a tidal gradient. On Earth, it is gentle. Inside Jupiter, it becomes a death sentence measured in thousands of kilometers. This changes how we think about what a planet even is. Jupiter is not a world you could visit. It is a physics experiment running at scales that make human survival irrelevant. Let us go layer by layer. And let us be very specific about what kills you at each one. You enter Jupiter's atmosphere at roughly 70 kilometers per second. The pressure at the cloud tops is already 1 atmosphere. That is fine. That is like standing on Earth. But you are moving. And Jupiter's atmosphere is not passive. Wind bands move at 500 kilometers per hour. You are immediately inside a storm system larger than our entire planet. Within the first 1,000 kilometers of descent, pressure climbs to 10 atmospheres. Then 100. The temperature is climbing too. By the time you reach 2,000 kilometers deep, it is over 2,000 degrees Celsius. Your spacecraft, your suit, every molecule you brought with you is already vaporizing. But the tidal gradient has been building the whole time. Here is a specific way to feel what tidal gradients actually do. Imagine lying on a rack. One person pulls your feet. Another pulls your hands. Now imagine the person at your feet is pulling with a force 10% stronger than the person at your head. That 10% difference is all it takes. Your spine separates first. Then everything else follows. Jupiter's gravity at its center is estimated to be around 40 times stronger than Earth's surface gravity. But that number is not the killer. The killer is how fast that gravity changes as you move inward. The gradient, the rate of change, that is what turns a planet into a shredding machine. And here is the first thing that should genuinely rearrange your brain about Jupiter. At around 20,000 kilometers below the cloud tops, something extraordinary happens to hydrogen. Hydrogen is a gas. You know it as the lightest element. Under enough pressure, around 1 million atmospheres, hydrogen stops being a gas. It stops being a liquid. It becomes something with no analog on Earth's surface. It becomes metallic hydrogen. The electrons separate from their atoms. Hydrogen starts conducting electricity like a metal. It flows. It carries current. And because Jupiter rotates every 10 hours, this ocean of metallic hydrogen generates a magnetic field 14 times stronger than Earth's. That magnetic field is not just impressive. It is what makes Jupiter a threat to everything near it. The radiation belts around Jupiter are so intense that a human standing near the Galilean moons would receive a lethal radiation dose within hours. Io, one of Jupiter's moons, sits inside a radiation environment that destroys spacecraft electronics within days. If this is rearranging what you thought you knew about our solar system, subscribe right now. We cover the physics textbooks skip because they were too afraid it would overwhelm you. It will not. You are handling it fine. Now here is the deeper layer. The one that makes Jupiter genuinely strange. Nobody knows what Jupiter's core actually is. We have models. We have data from the Juno spacecraft, which has been orbiting Jupiter since 2016. Juno's gravity measurements suggest Jupiter's core is not a small dense rock at the center. It appears to be a diffuse, fuzzy region roughly 40% of Jupiter's diameter in size. That is around 50,000 kilometers across. A blurry core. A core that is mixing with the layers above it. This is called a dilute core. And it suggests Jupiter did not form the way we thought. The leading model says Jupiter started as a rocky core that then swept up gas. But if the core is diffuse and mixed, maybe a giant impact billions of years ago stirred everything together. Maybe a protoplanet roughly 10 times Earth's mass slammed into the young Jupiter and partially dissolved its core into the surrounding metallic hydrogen. Think about that. Jupiter might carry the ghost of a dead world dissolved inside it. That planet hit Jupiter so hard it did not leave a crater. It left a smear 50,000 kilometers wide that we are only now starting to detect. And this changes something fundamental about what we think happened in the early solar system. The planets did not just drift into their orbits quietly. They collided. They absorbed each other. Jupiter ate things. It may still be settling from an impact that happened 4 billion years ago. What does this mean going forward? The Juno mission ends soon, but its data will take decades to fully interpret. Future missions with more sensitive gravity instruments might finally resolve whether that dilute core is real, how deep it extends, and whether Jupiter's interior is still convecting and changing today. Some models suggest the core is slowly sinking. Others say material is rising. Jupiter might not have reached its final internal structure yet. This is a planet 4 times larger across than the distance from Earth to the Moon. And it is still becoming something. The universe did not build Jupiter for us to understand it quickly. It built Jupiter at a scale where our intuitions simply stop working. Where gas becomes metal. Where gravity becomes a blade. Where an entire planet can be the grave of another planet and we would only just now be finding out. That is the kind of physics that does not fit in a textbook because textbooks have page limits. Reality does not. If you want more of this, the science that actually bends what you think is possible, subscribe and hit the bell. Next video, we are going inside a neutron star. And what happens there makes Jupiter look gentle.